At this point in history, there's so many wonderful players, so much wonderful gear, and so many ways to learn all these wonderful techniques and styles. Even with all the techniques and wonderful gear and wonderful guitars, there's still one area of playing that I rarely see brought up. That area is using your volume and tone knob. Basically the built-in pedals of the guitar and not like Matt Bellamy's built-in pedal in his guitar. If you like what you see here today, please hit that subscribe button, check out my Patreon, reach out for lessons. Whatever you can do to support is really appreciated. There's different reasons to use your tone and volume knob depending if you're doing like kind of a short scale thing, a tele thing, a strat-like thing, and today I'm going to be taking a strat-like guitar through its paces. I'll be using a preset I recently made of a high-powered tweed, and we'll be using clean all the way to super dirty tones. So let's start with the neck pickup, which in this setting is going to be kind of bright, but not unusually bright. These aren't even new strings, and it's still decently bright. That's wonderful if I want to cut through a mix or something, but if it's kind of like a nice tender opener, or maybe like a breakdown right before, like a kick in the distortion kind of solo, it's a tender moment, I might not want that kind of aggression. Let's try the same kind of approach, but with the tone on 7. Still has like aggression in the playing, still kind of, but it's not gonna, at certain loud volumes, kind of spike and really hit you in the face. I can play a bit more tenderly if I want. I can still hit hard, but have that extra room not to not to just blow someone's hair back, like happened to me a long time ago. This is all because someone's bridge pickup was way too bright. Now let's move that tone knob to 5 and get like a really nice and chill sound. It almost borders on jazzy. It's not like full jazz humbucker or anything like that, but it certainly is a lot different than full-on tone knob, right? So much less in your face, and you can use a boost or something, just a small boost to compensate for that like volume drop. Now you could roll the tone knob all the way down to 0, but I normally just do these 3 to kind of get these 3 moods from each pickup. So onto the 4th position. The 4th and 2nd position on a strat, depending on the amp you're going into, can be really brutal. Sometimes you might want to like cut through a mix or something. But that might be a little intense sometimes. So let's do that same one down to 7 on the tone knob. Now let's check out the tone knob on 5. Much more chill and a bit more delicate and vulnerable, I think. So onto the middle pickup, or 3rd position. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I kind of see this position as like an acoustic sound. Here it's going to be pretty bright though. Pretty bright, not necessarily ridiculous, like if there was a keyboard player and another guitar player, I might just leave it there, but let's try it at 7 now. quite a bit sweeter, and almost, again, in my opinion, if someone forgot their acoustic, I might go with this sound to like open a song. And for due diligence, let's do the tone knob on 5. Significantly more relaxing. I know you might not always want a relaxing tone, but that's what tone knob at 10 is for. So when it comes to the second position, I wouldn't necessarily touch the tone control that also does the neck. I would do the one that just does the bridge. And at most I might take it down to 7 or 5, only if it's super bright though. So if we're doing something like... I had to. What do you want me to do? Say that was too bright, I dial it down just a hair. Kind of takes that edge off, especially if you're going into a really bright amp. Now onto the bridge, and there's obviously a qualifier here. This is a Fralin hot split blade. It's a pretty unusual looking pickup, but I had it hot so I didn't have all those highs, and I had it silent because I hate a lot of noise, especially when I'm on like the pickup that I would use all the distortion on. So although this pickup is going to be pretty muted in those highs, let's check it out just in case. Depending on the amp I'm going through, there might still be a little bit too much there. And so again, tone knob down to like 8 or 7. Let's do 8. Just a little lower. Really sweetens it up, and that's super important when we get over to a distorted tone. So here we have another high-powered twin, but it's cranked and with the pedal pushing it even further. Now I think it's already relatively warm, but I might want the tone knob at 8 just to make it a super sweet sound. So here's tone knob full out. And with the tone knob at 8. So as you can see, it's a sweeter sounding tone, just a hair though. So it's one of those scenarios where if I'm soloing and I boost my sound and I'm like, oh, that's a little brighter than I thought, a quick turn to the tone knob to 8 solves that problem. 8 or just lower. Now the volume knob is a similar world, but it's kind of its own thing. So let's say I dial in a nice crunchy sound with a neck pickup. Sounds good to me, although let's try the tone knob down at 7 just to see how it sounds. Quite nice. There's still a volume decrease with the tone knob, it's just not as immediate as when you're using your volume knob. So here's the volume at 10. down just a hair. That'll make a big difference if I'm playing pretty loud, and it'll also make a big difference if I want like a pretty aggressive intro, and then I don't want to touch anything for the verse when someone's singing or something like that. I just want to take a hair of volume down, a hair of highs down, get a more mellow sound, and then maybe for the chorus or something, go back to the volume at 10. I think it's a bit simpler and sometimes a bit more fun for me to not necessarily dial in the perfect sound for every single section of a song, and instead just kind of use my tone knob and volume knob, or tone knobs and volume knob depending on the guitar, to be able to alter my sound as needed. Again, I can't really add reverb with these knobs, so for something like cascading rivers and oceans of reverb or something like that, obviously I need to dial that in. But for something like a tamer sound and then a louder sound, I can do that all right here. So this might only be on a Strat style guitar, but as you can see, we can get a lot of different sounds using just a clean tone and a super time to rock tone. The usability of the tone and volume knob are also going to be a little bit more apparent if you're playing at a louder volume. If I'm playing at a nice, in my apartment volume, I wouldn't really need to turn my volume down past 7 maybe even 8. But if I'm playing super loud, I could turn it down to 3 and I'd still hear a pretty clear signal. So I think it's worth experimenting with, and I hope you do this week. Get your inner Jeff Beck, Joe Bonamassa, Derek Trucks on, maybe dish the pick, and play with the volume and tone knobs and try to dial in some sounds that you might not have thought of otherwise. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all next week.